I'm just hoping not to get rained on the porch of of the building tonight. I know it's iffy, so I don't know exactly what that will mean. Um, but we did a little video interview in front of the construction site of our new fine arts building back in July when it was 170 degrees.
Oh. So does your hair do this when it rains, or does it do this when it rains?
No, no, are you kidding? This becomes like a bouffant with this. You have that same issue, Jen? Yeah, us curly haired girls. I mean, one drop in the air and it goes, and there's no controlling it.
Yeah.
Gretchen,
Gretchen
We have
says
to
the
just
same thing.
embrace it.
Just embrace it.
Just, just, yeah.
Oh man.
There have been a lot of buns this year, and you guys are lucky because it's down.
I just took mine down. Kathy can tell you, literally,
yeah, you had it.
it was up all day, and it just came down.
Oh.
And I want to thank you all also. I think this is such a great event for our teachers, and and I'm glad we've got this amazing panel who's going to help them out with all the struggles that they have, and I know everybody, it's tough, but y'all are doing great things, and I appreciate you guys spending time with our teachers. And the cool thing is this will be on our YouTube channel, and so folks can come back and watch it, and ones who missed tonight, and then y'all can come back and watch it. It's actually streaming right now. And Dinah, plan on dropping the Google Doc again for the beginning after you talk for a minute.
I'll do it.
Dinah, are you going to drop the link for the PL credit at the end too?
I'll do it again. I've done it at the very beginning, and I'll do both as we start talking.
Perfect.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yep. These sessions take a village. I learned early on that I really couldn't fly solo on them. There's just too much going on.
Kathy, how long have you been with Plano?
This is year 26.
Can you believe it?
And it was not my first gig.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Where were you before Plano?
I opened Stafford Middle High School in the Houston area in 19.
Oh my gosh.
And so you could probably look up what year that was if you want to, see when that MSD came online. And I stayed there 3 years, and then I married my Army sergeant, and we moved to Killeen for 3 years, and then he went to A&M to get an engineering degree, and so I spent 5 years in College Station.
That's crazy.
Yep. And then I took a year off and finished my master's at UNT. And then came to Plano.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hey. Good to see everybody. Hi, Chrissy.
Hi, how are you, Kathy?
Good. How are you, friend?
Oh, long time, right?
It has been too long, but
Yes, it has.
just is what it is, friend.
It is what it is. So glad you're doing this. What a great idea.
Oh, thanks.
And so glad you and Dinah put it all together. So
I did nothing. It's Kathy and Laura.
I don't believe it.
They said yes when we asked. That's all it takes.
We
Because it's
got us
important.
together in the car. We were buying lunch in the drive.
We got 2 for
Very,
1.
very good timing.
Laura, that was perfect timing.
It was
2 for
excellent.
1. I love it. We'll take it.
It was meant to be.
It was. This is going to be great. Well, and you know, music and art teachers work hand in hand on every elementary campus. You have to form an aligned union
Absolutely.
for each other's sanity, right?
So true.
I'm gonna save all my big thoughts for when we start at 5. So
Okay,
I'm not gonna say
perfect.
anything else.
So Chrissy, tell
Yes.
Laura Grunler who your sister is.
Oh my gosh, Sarah Watkins.
What?
No, no, Sarah is my first cousin.
First cousin. Okay, I knew
My
there was
first cousin. That's right. Very, very close. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, actually, she and my sister Carol were roommates at UT. So
Oh my goodness.
it's sort of a connection, but yeah, very close.
My kids will be wildcats. One of them sooner than I want. Oh.
Well, we are planning a Zoom shower for her daughter, Eleanor, and it's been a trip, let me tell you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So fun.
Joe, I'm going to take a picture and tweet this just for you. Okay.
Do it. Do it.
Hey, Dawn. Hello, Dawn. Thanks for joining.
Good evening.
How come you can't see me? Oh, there we go. Hi, Rebecca.
Sandy Moose.
Hey, Kelly Jo.
More. We
Thanks.
did an hour of learning together earlier in the afternoon.
I'm trying to get on my computer and it's not letting me, so I'm on my phone. So I made you twice here.
That's all right. We're glad to have you.
Frustrating when that happens.
It is.
So Kathy, if it's,
Yes.
it's fine with you, let's start like at 5:02.
I'm good. You
but not
can
wait-
kick it off whenever you're ready.
It's, yeah. We got 50 folks here, and I've got some folks on the. Joe, how's the YouTube looking?
Doing good. 24 and climbing. Yeah, people are just now logging in.
That's excellent.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
There's a 15-second delay too with YouTube, so it's funny to watch the delayed reaction of all the jokes. So as you tell like something funny, then 15 seconds later, this screen over here just explodes in laughter.
That's awesome. All right, guys, it's 5 o'clock, and we're going to start at 5:02 to give folks an extra couple minutes to get started. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be some great information. I'm really looking forward to it.
And Laura, you should plug. I know probably everybody knows about the chat that you have tonight, but you should plug that too to make sure everybody, if they don't know the Twitter chat, stuff like that, feel free. I love it. I love watching it. So
Every Thursday night, we have K-12 Art Chat on Twitter. It's a live chat. It's about a 30 to 40-minute stream of live conversation where we have 6 to 7 questions around a certain topic, and we have different hosts from all over the world host on different art eds topics. So tonight, we're specifically speaking about AP and IB sustained investigation in this new environment. So it's a really meaningful topic about a lot of things that we are working through. And it should be I think personally, I think all of our conversations are very relevant and meaningful. And we welcome any educator into the chat at any time. And you can always just look up the hashtag as well, K-12 Art Chat. And yeah.
Hey, Laura, send me an email about that, and I'll blast it out to the membership and ask them to share it with all their art teachers.
Will do.
Yeah, do that for sure. All right, well, it's 5:02. I would like to welcome everybody to the Texas Music Administrators Conference. TMAC presents Extraordinary Teaching in Extraordinary Times, and elementary music and art panel discussion. This is our second series of events we've done for our educators, and we're open to do more in the future. Let us know any great ideas y'all have. By the way, I'm Jim Egger. I'm the Fine Arts Director at McAllen ISD, and I'm also blessed to be the president of TMAC this year. And it's been an exciting year, and we've done a whole bunch of stuff, and we've got even more coming. I want to thank Kathy Cuddiff and Lauren Grundler from Plano, who set all this up for us, got folks lined up, and just, I think it's going to be outstanding. I want to welcome everybody who's with us on the Zoom chat, and folks who are with us also on YouTube Live, whether you're viewing it right now or a day from now or a week from now. It'll be up on our TMAC YouTube channel for a very, very long time. So without further ado, let me have our secretary, Dinah Menger, who was instrumental in setting this up, go over some of the things she's going to share in the chat to help you guys out. Dinah?
Thank you, Jim. First of all, I want to say hello to all of these heroes. Oftentimes you're the unsung heroes on campuses. You are the ones who initiate, ignite, and find those students that will have for the rest of their lives a lifelong passion and need for fine arts. You start the ball rolling. You see what's there, and you are so special to those of us who are fine arts administrators for the Texas Music Administrators Conference. The other thing that is very important is that often your work goes unsung, even though you are the only professional and the person of expertise on your campuses. So TMAC honors you, TMAC supports you, and we hope that tonight's beautiful gathering will help you feel heard, will help you align and form a strong union with each other, with some of these great experts that are talking to you. In the chat, I'm going to be dropping in a link, and I'll put it in now and a little bit later as well, a link for you to fill out so that you can send me information, and I'll send you a certificate for an hour and a half of professional development credit from TMAC. And then I'm going to also drop in the chat just a Google Doc that we can share so that you can ask questions. You can say, hey, this is working for me, along with all this great information you're going to get tonight from all of this assembled roundtable that Kathy and Laura have put together. But just any questions, concerns, even better yet, resources, or just crazy tricks that are working for you in this crazy time. So without further ado, we are so honored to have as the host for this event this evening, Kathy Cuddiff and Laura Grundler. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you
Dinah.
for having us.
And we want to thank TMAC for providing a space for us to talk openly about the particular challenges and the rewards of teaching elementary art and music. We're really honored to facilitate tonight's conversation. My co-facilitator tonight is Laura Grundler. She is the amazing visual arts coordinator here in Plano ISD and half of the incredible team we refer to as Team Grundler behind K-12 Art Chat that we were talking about a little bit earlier. We'll drop some information about that before we finish today.
Thank you again for having us. I'm so pleased to be here with so many amazing music and art teachers and administrators. I would like to start by introducing you to our panel tonight. I'm going to start with the art teachers. Gretchen Bell. Gretchen Bell is a K-5 art teacher in at Haregrove Elementary in Cypress Fairbanks. She is a proud University of Houston alum where she received her BA in art education with a minor in art history. Gretchen also serves on the executive board of TAEA, the Texas Art Education Association, as vice president of membership, vice president-elect of membership. So thank you, Gretchen, so much for being here. Can you wave to everybody for us? Thank you. Jen Holsinger Rayborn is what she likes to call the creativity consultant, AKA art teacher at Spicewood Elementary, which is an international baccalaureate school in Austin, Texas. She is in Round Rock ISD, and she is in her 16th year as an arts educator. And Jen began her career as a museum educator, and this is her 10th year in Round Rock. So Jen, yay. And then Erica Pomponio is an art teacher at Mendenhall Elementary School here in Plano ISD. She's also one of my art leaders. She's amazing. I have to brag on her. She grew up here in North Texas and graduated from the University of North Texas with a degree in interdisciplinary art and design studies. And upon graduation, she realized she loved teaching and did an alternative certification. She has been teaching in Plano since 2012. So I am so pleased to have these three amazing art educators here with you tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to Kathy to introduce our music panelists.
Welcome, art friends. We're so glad you're here. In addition to these amazing visual arts teachers, we have three superb music specialists with us tonight. Melanie Brady is one of two music teachers at Schaefer Elementary School in Katy ISD. She is a graduate of The Ohio State University and Silver Lake College. And prior to moving to Katy, she taught elementary music here in Plano and in the Vidalia Butler School District in Ohio. Wave to everybody, Melanie. Brittany DeMoise is the music teacher at Miller Elementary School here in Plano. She's a graduate of the Plano school system and UT Tyler, and joined her hometown school district immediately following her graduation 7 years ago. Say hi to everybody, Brittany. And Ignacio Tony Lopez is in his 8th year as the music teacher at Hendricks Elementary School in McAllen ISD. He's a graduate of the UT Pan American and is currently serving on the board of the Kodály Educators of Texas as the regional rep for the Rio Grande Valley. Thanks for being here, Tony. Before we get into our questions for the panelists, I'll just say for everyone on Zoom at least, you may want to switch over to speaker view just so that each of the individual speakers, as they answer their questions, will come up big on your screen so you kind of see who is responding. We're going to do a round robin. We have given our speakers these questions in advance, and each one of them is going to respond to all of the questions. And then if you have questions or comments in the chat, Mrs. Minger is going to try to collect those for us, and we'll address questions towards from the participants towards the end of our time together. So we're going to start with, let's just start by asking each of our teacher panelists to describe your current teaching scenario. Are you on a cart? Are you in your classroom? Are you doing online, face-to-face, some combination of the two? What does it look like where you are? Melanie, let's start with you. If you're talking, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I thought the space bar would unmute me. I guess not. So I'm currently in my classroom, and I provide asynchronous lessons for our online friends and in-person lessons all day long. We're on a 3-day rotation in the classroom and a weekly rotation asynchronously online. So that's quite the challenge. It varies campus to campus within our district, so it's all principal discretion. And it's definitely been an interesting ride. I'm lucky to have a partner teacher to share the load. That's definitely been a help.
Cool. Gretchen, tell us how it is where you live.
Okay, I am currently in the classroom teaching face-to-face with the students when we use a Schoology platform where we provide the lessons online and have them synced up where they're the same that we teach in class and to the virtual students. Pretty much the same for all of the elementary teachers in our district. We're all in the classroom, but we do not have to teach like hybrid style like the rest of the classroom teachers. We just monitor Schoology, answer questions that the students have, and keep our fingers crossed that they are working through the lessons and uploading everything. We did add another class to our rotation this year. We added library to reduce the class size. So instead of a typical year, I would have 26 to 45 students, so 2 homerooms. Now I'm maxed at 24 with space, and but things are changing every day. So as of now, things look really nice and they're good, but slowly but surely students are returning back to the classroom. And
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Brittany, talk about your classroom situation.
So I am both face-to-face and online. I'm teaching synchronously online. And my school is rather small, so I'm really blessed to have dedicated class periods to teach online. And it's been super fun and great and a really fun challenge, truly.
She's really clearly one of our rock stars who has found her calling in all of this chaos.
It's been a great moment for advocacy. That's all I can say.
There you go. That's excellent. Jen, tell us how it is in Austin.
Hi, so yeah, I'm in Round Rock ISD, and similar to what several people have echoed in our district, it's not exactly the same on every campus. Our principals have discretion to best fit our community and what works for them. So Laura mentioned earlier that I'm an IB school. I teach PYP, Primary Years Program. So keeping a structure that allows us to align with our units has been a big priority on my campus. So as of right now, we're doing asynchronous lessons for everyone. However, we are facilitating those asynchronous lessons in, for example, I'm currently facilitating both art, music, Spanish, and PE to buddy classes that I work with on my campus. And starting in the second 9 weeks, which is a couple of weeks for us, October 19th, we are going to start pushing in. So I am currently developing my art on a cart because I'm going to have the opportunity to see my kiddos and actually make some things with them. So I'll be face-to-face with some while continuing asynchronously on my campus for virtual learners.
Great. Tony, tell us how it is in McAllen.
So McAllen ISD is currently all virtual with teachers teaching from home. The current plan is to phase in students slowly for face-to-face instruction by November 9th. And parents can choose to send their students to school either full-time or continue distance learning from home, or a combination of both, where a few days they'll come to school for face-to-face and the rest will be virtual. And when we do return to the classroom, at least my understanding from my principal will be that I will still continue to teach virtually from my classroom, whether their kids are at school or not. And right now I do 3 days of synchronous teaching and 2 days of asynchronous lessons, but like others, it's not the same from campus to campus at my district.
Awesome. Erica, bring it home for us.
All right, so I am teaching same thing. I'm doing some synchronous and some asynchronous. So my campus, same thing. I'll echo the same thing, that there is discretion across the board. But we also have, obviously our standards across PISD that we want to have as much live instruction as possible with our students, just to benefit that everyone is getting the same standard of education across the board. So whatever we're getting at home, we're getting in the classroom. So my structure is really honestly the same. So I'm utilizing all of my tools. So I have about 15 to 20 minutes at most of instruction that's synchronous with my kids, no matter what, if they're face-to-face with me, which they are 4 days a week. And then I have one day, which is actually today was my virtual day. So my entire roster is virtual for the whole day of Thursday. And so we do our same normal intro to lessons. We do, practicing techniques together, sketchbook work, all that stuff. And then they get their independent work time, and I'm available for them throughout the class period to come and check in via a couple of different technology resources for them to check in. And then they submit to me and all their work through a digital portfolio. And that's for K through 5.
Fantastic. Well, I think we're going to jump into a little bit more of an SEL question. You know that 2020 has been such a roller coaster for all of us. And I'm curious how each of you, as both music and art educators, are managing all of the ups and downs of the roller coaster, the ride or the wave, or however you want to call it this year has been. So starting back with Melanie. Melanie, can you tell us a little bit how you're managing this year, just the ups and downs emotionally and in the classroom?
Sure. So I have an infant at home. He's 8 months old. And so I'm working really hard to set and keep the boundaries, even with this increased workload. That's part of what's keeping me sane, is saying I have to leave to go get him and be with him. It's really taken me the better part of this entire first grading period to get to where I don't feel like I'm completely underwater and drowning. Honestly, I've probably cried more on my 30-minute drive to and from home than I care to admit this year, and more than I probably ever have. I don't feel like I'm doing my job particularly well because of how thin we're stretched doing both online and in person, and the fact that it is 2 completely different lessons because no one at home has the same materials we have at school and all of those things. So we took a little different approach on my campus this year, since we're not doing a lot of synchronous teaching with our virtual kids, where we're just making music together, having fun together, building community together, and not really worried so much, I'm sorry, Kathy, about moving forward in the TEKS every class and such. We're really just trying to be musicians and be together and experience these things together as best we can right now. It's been a challenge. We are making notes of all the things that work really well. So we're kind of using it as an experimental year, and that's helping too, that I'm viewing it as an experiment. What new activities will work well for the future?
Melanie, thank you for being so honest. I really, really appreciate that. I think that's exactly what everybody needs to hear, though, because I know, and Kathy knows, that we're hearing those things from our teachers. And so I really appreciate you sharing that. Gretchen?
Of course. Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. No, I was just going to say, I thought really long and hard about how to say things, because I didn't want to come off super negative, but yet the truth is important to hear.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Gretchen, how are you managing this roller coaster?
I'm doing fairly well with everything. And thank you, Melanie, for being honest. So I feel more comfortable. I can speak as well. I feel like listening to other administrators, not administrators, other art educators, some are handling it very well. Some are having a harder time. Hardest thing, schedule changes this year. At the very beginning, it's completely different than anything that we've expected. Any of my 15 years of teaching, where thank goodness we have a hands on the ground administration. They stepped in. They took all of the classes and where we were, they divided them out since we added another rotation. So that took a big load off of our plate. Seating charts. It's a small thing, but it's such an important factor this year, just in case you have to do contact tracing. So every single day, I've never had to take roll in class, but I have to ask because some students are switching their mode of learning and they're coming back. We are provided with that list on Mondays, but it's just different. And it was kind of funny because the way our schedule usually is, I have the first day of school lesson, opening lesson for art and knowing the art studio and everything. I had that about 4 or 5 times, and then I didn't see those students again for 3 weeks. So starting projects was really delayed, but now we're rolling, we're good. yeah, that's pretty much the big thing. Oh, I like to work late after school. That's when I can focus. I turn on music and I can just start getting things done. But now we have to be out by 5:30 so they can deep clean everything. So that's been a challenge. Some things I just have to weigh my options and say what's most important right now. Do I need to do this? But like Melanie said, I have that balance. I really don't bring my work home with me. And if it's starting to get too late or that 5:30 time comes around and I haven't finished it, I just make tons of sticky notes, love sticky notes, tons of sticky notes, and I'll get to it tomorrow because we have to have that mental clarity. We have to take care of ourselves. If we don't take care of ourselves, we don't have anything to give to other people. So that.
You speak truth. Thank you, Gretchen. Brittany, can you share what's going on with your roller coaster?
So I've definitely had like my moments of anxiety and stress about everything happening. But all I can really do is focus on the present and take care of myself and my kids each day. And we've been very, very blessed to hear over and over from Kathy, her being our fine arts director, just that like, do what you can. It's not going to be a perfect year. You're not going to get through all of your teaks, and that's okay. And I think it's been really interesting and really fun. I really enjoyed working from home when we got to do that, because who doesn't love like when their puppies come up and jump on your lap while you're teaching kids music? That's great. But I recognized coming back to school and working from school is so much healthier for me, to have that real work-life separation. And I think like one of the biggest issues this year was having, you know, with everything going on, our grade levels got even more focused on just their grade level. I mean, if a teacher, grade level teacher could look outside their classroom, they basically just saw their grade level and they couldn't think any further than that. So we really had to kind of fight for, you know, everyone, especially like our administration at my school, seeing things in like a worldwide view and not just this is what the kindergarten teachers need or whatever. But now that everything is kind of shaken itself out, we're in the 10th week of school over here. It's getting better. I feel like I can, you know, hold my head above water, and yeah, things are more manageable now.
Good. I think Jen is next.
So, I mean, I can probably echo what a lot of people have already shared and been really vulnerable, which is truthfully very hard for teachers to do, right? Because we want to, we care a lot about our students and we really want to do what's best for them. And we give a lot to them all the time because we're passionate about it and we want to. So I know that for me, sort of settling with the idea that someone mentioned earlier, that this isn't going to be the perfect year and there are going to be things I'm going to have to let go of, was definitely a little bit tough. But I think that we're finally, I can kind of agree and echo with what other people have said, that I'm finally maybe kind of starting to find a rhythm with some of it. I also have discovered that I need to wait. I'm a pretty doer kind of a person. So if you tell me, don't laugh, Laura Grunler. So if you tell me that something is changing, chances are I will like hop directly on it and solve the whole problem. And then they would change it the next day. And the 4 hours that I spent until midnight or something solving a problem was just time wasted. So I've had to kind of go back to, somebody else mentioned this the other day, but I went back to a lesson that I learned really young because I was a soccer kid. And then it was reiterated to me through Brene Brown that you have to settle the ball. You have to just let it sit for a minute. And I think that's the thing that's helped me the most sort of moving forward, is that I'm waiting a little bit longer until I act on things just to see that they're really settled and moving forward. I think that's kind of helped me a lot. And I love that I have people in my life and my administrators and things like that that are also trying to model good work-life balance. That's been really important. I think when you see your administrators and the people around you also taking that seriously, just like you would model for your students, it really supports us to know that it's okay to go home, you know?
I think Brene Brown might be helping a lot of us through all of this.
Really. If she's not, you should try.
Right. Ignacio, can you tell us about how you're handling the roller coaster?
Sure. So first and foremost, I'm really grateful that McAllen ISD and pretty much all the schools of the Rio Grande Valley made the safety of its staff and students a priority, since this area has been a hotspot for months. So that's been my main concern since this whole thing started. You know, I can handle the added stress that comes with the virtual planning and teaching, the juggling of different technology, working past contract hours. All of that is a breeze to me as long as I'm safe. But as their music teacher, I want to try to provide a safe and welcoming environment for them still, where they can still feel safe to sing and dance and have fun, and just forget for a little bit that, it's different out there and that we can have some sort of normalcy. So with teaching, I've been sticking to my Kodai process that I've been using, and it's been very helpful in maintaining kind of that sense of normalcy. So I'm barely in my third year of getting my certification, but the students, they're already very used to the process. So it's something that's really familiar to them. And, it may not look the same as a traditional classroom, but, I still keep the key elements there. And the kids know no matter what, we're still gonna do some kind of creative movement. So they know we're gonna have some fun. So basically, I try to keep everything the same that can stay the same, and then change whatever I can that needs to be changed to fit our virtual setting. And an added bonus of this virtual teaching has been, since, especially with the littles, that parents are usually right there next to them. So they're seeing what's going on in my music room. And I've received some really good feedback from some parents, liking the things that we do. So it's good to know that they see the value in what we do.
That's a great point of advocacy, Ignacio, for them to, and I think that that's true for art and music elementary, is that our parents are seeing the quality of our lessons, and no matter what, we're going to put quality out there to the best of our ability. Erica, you're our caboose. Can you please tell us how you're managing the roller coaster? I know you also have 2 small children at home, so I know there's been a lot.
I do. So, just echoing that whole being very vulnerable, spring was, it almost broke me. I'll be honest. Out of all of my years of teaching, I approach it a lot of times when people are like, oh, you're an art teacher, like, that's gotta be so much fun. And I think my response most of the time is like, it's a lot of work, but it doesn't feel like it. It's something that I'm passionate about. And the only thing that makes it feel like work is I have to get up early in the morning, But yeah, trying to do that at home with 2 small children. I have a 4-year-old, well, now 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. And then with my husband working at the house as well, it was very challenging. I'm very fortunate in Plano ISD. We have a great group of curriculum writers I was fortunate to be a part of. So we did have a great curriculum in place that we were able to adapt from. And we broke ourselves up into individual PLCs. So the weight was spread across, so the burden was not on the few. Everyone picked up the pieces and kind of helped each other out, which was so rewarding and amazing to see, because I got to work with some of my fellow educators that I, just are at different campuses, and some that are at like campuses. So we really got, I think, a much better understanding of, even within our district, even though we do a ton of professional development together, we really had a better understanding of how to take care of each other, which really set a good foundation for the start of this year. So with that being said, that I did struggle very much, and yes, it was hard, but I know that my calling in life is to be in a classroom with children. I teach at a Title I school here in Plano ISD. We're a very large volume school. We have a lot of transient kids that come in and out, and we're also predominantly ELL, so mostly Spanish speakers. So there's a lot of SEL that goes into the work that we do on our campus. It's ingrained from, the very beginning in everything that you do and all your interactions, your communications. and your adaptation of your lessons that we provide for them. So there's not only what I get from my district, which is phenomenal. You know, I put a lot of extra work into what fits best for my kids on my campus. What exactly are they going to need to feel safe and comfortable right now, whether they're face-to-face with me or they're virtual. So that advocacy for, you know, having this outlet for them has been very deep centered in my heart and what I'm doing right now, as I know all of us are. You know, I feel like I look at my position and the job that I do in a completely different way. And I find that as the positivity that I'm going to seek out of this whole mess, that I don't think I will ever be at the same teacher I was before. I feel that it's been very transformational, that through the struggle and the doubt and thinking, can I manage this all? And then, you know, like I've told several, I know Laura mentioned that I do hold a position where our elementary art teachers as a leader. And so I feel like anytime I get an email from colleagues that they're like, I'm so sorry to bother you. And, you know, my response is always, honestly, I'm at my best when I can help other people. And that's what I want to do. And the same thing that I want to do for my students. So coming back to campus was a necessity for me and honestly for my mental health. I'm like I said, a student-centered person. So I feel like one thing that's been really beneficial to kind of find the breath in all that we're doing right now is just really being routines are key, and the consistency that we can provide our students is just absolutely what they need. I will say one of the things that's the hardest struggle for me right now being face-to-face is that my kids want to hug me, you know, and I want to hug them, and just that, you know, not having that interpersonal communication that we're used to is just such a struggle. So we're constantly finding new ways together to kind of fill that void. But, you know, just their smiles. I mean, you know, we all know that that's the winning part right there. That's the key piece that we need. And then seeing them be so proud of their artwork that they're creating, and so excited to share it in their home environments, even in a completely different way than they have before, has been something that I've just really enjoyed seeing and continue to find. So yeah, just finding, I do bring work home with small children. I'm the same way. I try and get myself out the door. So I do bring home, you know, increments of things, but I find other things to keep me busy while I'm doing them as well in the evening. And I set myself some time limits, which is hard for me, but a necessity for sure. So
Thanks, Erica. And thank you to all of you for your truth telling and for allowing yourself to be vulnerable in this group. I know most of you have your speaker view on, and so you may not see all of the heads nodding around the screen behind you, but there's a lot of empathy and understanding, I think, amongst your colleagues and friends on this call. Kind of building on where Erica left off, and maybe we'll start with her and then just panelists just jump in. But what has been the biggest challenge for you during this teaching experience in the fall, and what are you doing to try to address that challenge and wrestle it to the ground? Sure. Go, Erica.
So like I said, I realized early on, you know, so in Plano, we had the first 4 weeks was virtual learning across the board. And then we phased students in in the every 9 weeks, parents get the option to send, you know, continue to either pull their kids back or send them onto our campuses. So I just knew early on that the way, like I said, that I looked at our curriculum and the way that it was going to be implemented was going to be very campus specific, and even, you know, even more grade level specific than even the way that I looked at it before. Just planning out, I wanted to keep at the center of everything that I did was that I'm going to try and keep as much normalcy for them as I possibly can. Like, I'm not throwing anything out the window. Like, we're going to paint, we're going to still get messy, we're going to do what we can do. It's just going to look a little bit differently. And so I found that being really transparent with my students and parents and even colleagues and my administrator was just kind of helped me stay grounded and find my center, that I knew the path that I was on and knew that I had the support going forward with that as well. So just looking, like I said, at how the routines look for the students, being consistent with that for them, and giving them realistic expectations and things to look forward to. Not only helps me, but also helps them, you know. We just are entering into our painting unit right now, and they're so cute. They're just like, we know you love painting. We're so excited. And so just getting to see those little celebrations with them has been very, very nice. And just kind of setting those parameters has been really beneficial. We utilize the Google Classroom for all of our grade levels, which I'm sure most of us do. So I think it's been really neat and in a unique way, even with my littles, that they're communicating in such a different way. They send me little things here and there like, oh, this went with this lesson. You know, have you ever seen this before? And so I think for my campus, especially being able to kind of have that reach between after school hours for them, I've seen a lot of more deep communication and even collaboration with students and myself on what their projects look like and stuff. So that fostering that communication and that excitement for what they're doing is very exciting to see, especially after they've had 6 months away from us and have been dying to be with us. So and I have a great support system on my campus between my administrator and my team, and I think that's been really helpful as well, because it all looks good on paper until you have to put it into practice. And so being able to say, okay, I don't know about this, what do you think, has been something that I've really utilized on my campus this year.
Who else? Somebody else just jump in there.
I'll say my biggest challenge has been tracking down all the kids since we've been virtual for 8 weeks already. I don't know if some kids and parents view music as maybe as an option, but some students had not checked in or logged in with me for a few weeks. And I know they're registered because they're in my grade book, but they just haven't attended a live session or completed any music activities. And I'm also aware that every family situation is different, and for whatever reason, maybe they haven't been able to log in. So, we're always mindful of that. But I'm really grateful that McAllen ISD has done a lot. They've done a fantastic job in providing devices and providing internet access for our students and our teachers. So it's still not equal, like when we're in a classroom, but they've made a great effort in trying to reach everyone. Thankfully, I have a very good relationship with all of the teachers on my campus. So I am constantly reaching out to them about asking where kids are. Can you give me a phone number? Can you reach them for me? Because I know they're in their classroom. We just got to get them over to mine too. So we're making headway for sure, but it's still a challenge.
Mm-hmm. That's great. You're not alone in that. We're digging up kids every week, trying to get them connected. Who else?
I'll go on.
Oh, go ahead.
Gretchen.
Oh, sorry.
Go, girl. You got it.
Okay. I was going to comment on what Ignacio was saying, the challenge that you have with connecting with some of the students and getting work from them. With me, that is one of the biggest ones. Like you said, they exist, they're there and doing work for their teacher. But I actually had a teacher on campus at one of our meetings ask, was it required that the students go to PE, art, music, or library during that time? Because they feel like they've been on the screen, their screen time has been too long. And my jaw literally dropped, and I was astonished that they told the students and the parents that it was optional, that they could go and take a break, they could go outside, they could get a snack during that allotted time. And in my head, I was thinking, but if they were at school, they would be consistent and they would be in every single class and have to go to their separate rotations. Luckily, administrators stepped in and said, no, legally, they are required to attend. So she had to go back and reiterate to the parents, when our class is here, this is where our online students should be going. So that got straightened up. But I was like, really? Is that what you think of me? Because we've been teaching together for 10 years. And, another Yeah, that was really the biggest challenge. Another one, someone commented early about not having the students, virtual students, not having the same supplies as our in-person students. So the quality of work, as many messages or updates or announcements that I put out, and I've had them for several years in class in the past years, they know that our work is neat and complete with no white space. That's like my general saying. And I've said it, I provide examples. I'm still getting incomplete work. And so it's like, okay, I don't know what to say besides, can you take a look at this and add some more or modify? Because with teaching the whole school, I would never sleep if I was constantly staying on top of every single virtual student. So that's where I'm at, don't have an answer for how to address that even better. So yeah, that's just a few of the challenges.
Thanks, Gretchen. Brittany, jump in there.
I would say my most challenging thing is just to find a way to make my virtual instruction as natural as my in-person instruction. I feel very strongly that my kids who are in school and my kids who are at home receive the same from me. And this is where I just had to realize that, like, I know what's best for my kids. So, you know, where we're told to give maybe 15 to 20 minutes of instruction, if I have a really fun game I can play with my online kids, then I'm going to stay on with them for 45 minutes so we can play the game and they can have that connection. Because I notice, I mean, I don't know about you guys on Google Classroom or even in the chat on Google Meets, those kids are starving for connection with their friends. And if I can give them a little bit of that, you know, that's just, it's really important to me. So in order to make things more natural, I just literally do with them online exactly what I do with my in-class kids. So we start with stretching and vocal warm-ups, and they sit there and they're like, this is silly. I'm at home. I don't need to stretch. And I said, yeah, but here's the thing. Your body's at home, but your brain's at school. So let's do something that can connect the two. Because it's weird to be in your bed and learning music. So stand up and let's stretch, and having that consistent, it's like, that's how we start every day in the music room. So it just makes sense to me that that's how we start our virtual music classes as well. I've also really had to focus on the students and keep my mind just on them and not the fact that, you know, parents and grandparents and brothers and sisters are definitely in the room hearing me sing really stupid songs sometimes over and over and over again. I'm sure they're really annoyed with it. But you know what? The kids are having fun, and that's what matters. And it's been fun to really try and be creative and figure out how we can still play games online and how we can have that connection. I've come up with a couple cool ones that the kids have really enjoyed, and that's been what gets them super excited to come to class and keeps them actively involved. Like when we're doing that learning portion, when I say, oh, we've got a game coming up, so I'm watching to make sure that you're doing your hand signs so that, you know, I can pick you to play this game. And that just gets all of them participating, which is really great. I think more than anything though, like, you know what's right for your kids. You know, if you've got a group of kids who is super active, bouncing off the walls, like, put a lot more movement things in there. If you've got a really thoughtful group of kids, like, do some, I don't know, other things with them, but you know what's best for your kids. And just, I think in this, we've had a lot of, you know, from administrators and other teachers and just everything, there's a lot of best practices being thrown around right now. But here's the thing, we've never been in this situation before, and we have things that are theoretically really good practices, but if your kids are having fun and enjoying their time with you, then you are doing what's best for them.
Tony, Melanie?
I already answered this one.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. I've lost track. Melanie, I know we haven't heard from you.
Yeah, I've been the quiet one this question. I think the biggest things for me are the restrictions that are in place and trying to just wrap my head around how to still reach the kids. The social distancing is difficult, and our campus had the highest number of virtual students in all of KDISD. So we only had about 34% of our students on campus for the first 9 weeks. And that's going to closer to 50-50 on Monday. So figuring out again what changes we need to make, and we're trying to think of, we have to kind of think of each 9 weeks this year as a year of instruction. So my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week has to be the first day of school again. So really trying to make sure things are wrapped up, and we're trying to grade band like 4th and 5th doing very similar things because they're back to back. So there's less equipment to change out. Just a lot of thinking about the logistics has been a challenge. And with not being able to sing as much, relying on the body percussion, relying on the instruments, which then brings the, how do we find the time to sanitize the instruments, and how long do they have to sit before they can be touched again? I'm very jealous of the school districts where the fine arts departments provided every child with their own music kit, and I know a couple of my colleagues, I think, did do that, but finding the funding on a campus of 1,200 kids is just not a reasonable expectation of the teacher to take on. So we didn't choose to do that here. We're using our boom whackers and our plastic type instruments that are easily cleaned, and really putting the onus of taking care of each other on the kids. At the end of class, they get a cleaning wipe and they wipe everything off really good for us so that they're keeping us safe when we're wiping and the next kids 10 minutes later, because our process for manipulatives is clean, sit for 10 minutes, then they can be used again. So just trying to figure out how to make all of that work with 5 minutes between classes when you need 10 to sanitize, and all the pieces have been a big challenge. And our class sizes are going from 9 to 14 up to 17 to 23 in the same amount of space. So I'm going from a 6-foot box for every kid to a 6x3 box for every kid to fit them into the room. So now singing is absolutely out of the question for any length of time, because they're just too close to each other for it to be safe right now. So it's just one challenge after another. I'm again very thankful to have a partner teacher who really helps a lot, and she has great ideas, and our team works really well together as a specials team. And our philosophies, all of us this year have just gone to, we're just going to have fun, we're going to push things out, we're going to see what sticks. And the equity with the online kids is really the biggest thing though.
This is Jen. I actually haven't. I'll pipe up.
I caught up.
Yeah. So I think probably a lot of the challenges that I've had kind of echo what people have already said. My school happens to be a fairly affluent school. We're kind of we have a lot of friends who have a lot, and then we have a few friends who don't. And we're very lucky in Round Rock ISD that they have distributed laptops and Chromebooks and all kinds of amazing things. I'm actually, one of my hardest problems is that some of my students have such fancy tools at home that they are not working well on Schoology. For example, they are using their parents' magical MacBook Pro, which has extremely high filtering software on it, which isn't allowing things to work properly. So I've spent a lot of time on Screencastify, showing people exactly where to go and what to do. If you don't know Screencastify, it's great. And our district actually listened that we were using it a lot and bought a membership for our district, which we were really grateful for as teachers, that they responded to that need. So technology has just been interesting, of course, and then bandwidth, just losing kids in the middle of lessons and things like that. It's a challenge. Even though I teach in a fairly affluent area, it's right in the edge of hill country in sometimes $1 million houses that still don't have good Wi-Fi because they are located right on the edge of gorgeous nature. So that's definitely been a challenge.
Wow. Again, thank you so much for everyone for being so honest. And I'm really happy that you shared so much, because there are a lot of unique challenges, and this is just such a great conversation. We're going to move on to our next question. And again, I just want you to pipe in wherever you need to. But right now, teachers are very much looking for tools and resources and things to help them create. Even, I was on a call today about, Chromebook apps, because we've been an iPad creative district in art. And so now I'm trying to look for Chromebook access. Even things like restorative practice and working with kids in different SEL resources and things like that. So are there any resources that any of you would like to share with your art and music educator colleagues in the group tonight?
I'll share. I think there's so many out there, and I just urge you all to really focus on one or two. Because if you are trying to do all of them at once, you're going to pull your hair out and it's going to be a lot for you. And keep in mind that every new thing that you do, they also have other teachers who are also doing new things. And the kids, and especially their parents who are having to answer these questions, are really overwhelmed. So don't feel like you need to try every new thing that comes along. Get like really good at one or two of them. That being said, I really love using Flipgrid in my class. It's great for student assessment. I can moderate the videos so that it's not a publicly seen thing. And the kids are actually really good at feeling safe and comfortable enough to sing on Flipgrid if they know it's just me who's going to be listening. But it's also been really cool to do different games with them. Like we did a movement echo game, and each kid could go create their own and then also go play other kids. And it just kind of did its own thing. And I was like, cool, I'm going to use this every year now, because that was so much easier than doing it in class. And another one that I've really been loving was boom cards. There's already a lot out there for boom cards. Obviously not as much in music as in other subjects, but it's a really great way to reinforce and practice certain musical concepts. I have them do a lot of melodic or rhythmic dictation on boom cards. It gives them immediate feedback if they get it right or wrong, which is really nice. And yeah, like I said, just do what you can do with your kids and don't feel like you need to learn it all at once, because you can't and the kids really can't. So.
Yes, echoing off of Brittany, I feel the same way, that there's just so much out there. I myself was so overwhelmed going into the school year because there's, Pear Deck, Flipgrid, Seesaw, so many things you could use. So I chose that same strategy. Just stick to something that you really know. So like I said earlier, for my lessons, I stick to my Kodai books to structure my lessons. I use Seesaw myself. That's the one that I've been using it for years, and it just worked. My kids were already used to it, so it just works perfectly with my situation. And if you're not familiar with Seesaw, it has some similar features like Flipgrid. The kids can record themselves with video, with audio, they can draw, use text. So it offers a lot of options for them to show their thinking. And so it really helps me in my Kodai process with the reading, writing, and improvising activities. I use it a lot for my asynchronous days. The only thing is, of course, you're probably gonna, approving Seesaw activities is gonna become your life pretty much. And thankfully I have a student teacher this year that just started, and I've already trained her on how to approve Seesaw activities. So we've already cut the workload in half for that. Another place I've found resources is Facebook groups. There's some really good ones out there that you can find where people just share, their wonderful activities that they've already created with you. So, feel free to browse some of those as well, because there's just lots of great resources out there that people are sharing. And of course, your own colleagues, and those have been a great resource for me, is my colleagues at McAllen ISD and my Kodai levels as well. So always reaching out to them has been such a great resource as well.
I'll bounce off of that. I definitely agree with the Facebook groups. So many good ideas, but then that pulls you to a million rabbit holes too. One of my favorites has been using specifically the Song Maker within Chrome Music Lab. The kids are loving that. And there's this actually just came to me just now. I could have my asynchronous kids at home create the melodies and they're in Boomwhacker colors. So then my kids in person can perform them and record them, and we can send them out to my asynchronous kids. Literally just came to me as I'm talking right now. And I'm thinking, that's a really cool idea. We might have to do that next quarter. But the Songmaker and Chrome Music Lab has been a lot of fun. And that seems to be my highest engagement with my asynchronous kids right now, is getting those kinds of things. Even if I send them out the start of a melody and then have them finish the melody for me, has worked really well. Those are some of the things we did in the spring. But I will say, Katy ISD was awesome. They purchased every campus a copy of Music Play Online, a subscription for the year to Music Play Online. And it has saved our butts this year, to be completely honest with you. The wealth of activities that Denise has put up there over years and years and years, and the changes and the responsiveness she's had through everything. I could literally put a link for my asynchronous kids and have complete music lessons that follow somewhat what we're doing in person, as I pull from those activities and really just try to find the best of them. It is the best $150 that could have been spent for my campus this year. And my partner teacher and I have decided we're going to continue to use budget money for it if the district doesn't continue it in the future, because we're finding that much to go along with what we already have from our Kodai training and all the other things that we've done over the years. Those have been the two biggest ones. And now I need to make myself a note so I don't forget that brilliant idea with Songmaker.
Right.
Kathy and Lauren, would you mind if I pinned in for just a commercial real quickly?
Sure, absolutely.
We just had Denise Gagne on a beautiful Zoom conference with our teachers on Monday from Canada. She is brilliant. She is approachable. And because our teachers were on there, she even offered like special prices for all of her things. So Fort Worth ISD will be adopting Music Play Online. So Melanie, it's awesome. I agree with you. Our teachers loved it. Sorry, I just couldn't keep quiet, Kathy.
No, that's good. She's great, and those are really solid materials. They're really well designed.
I loved seeing that light bulb moment, Melanie.
I know, right?
That was awesome. Are there any art teachers that want to share some resources?
I'm gonna chime in, just kind of Buddy, on the just finding groups. And I think that I've kind of found a little bit of a unique situation. I talked with Laura a few weeks ago, and we had a situation where on our side we have a very large district, and so I'm on the east side of our district, and we had a complete internet power outage. There was nada. And we have face-to-face students, so it's you almost had this just crazy well, now what do we do? You're so honed in now into this virtual space, and everything's digital, and it's kind of like I had that well, we just go back to basics. I mean, we do what we do. So I think we're all feeling that flexibility, and I think that that's one thing that I kind of look at my tools in terms of the things that we keep in our tool belt, whether it be virtual or how we do it. So flexibility. Our resources are constantly changing. I completely agree with many of the others that say it's hard when you have the haves and the have-nots. I have a higher level of have-nots on my campus. So you have to really be able to go out and do the research for them that they can't do. I find myself going through other teachers' Instagrams and Googles of what do they do if they don't have paints, or even reaching out. I've been reaching out even to artists and stuff too, like street artists, okay, so when you were poor and didn't have, in this video. And so it's amazing at how we connect as visual artists and performers, and that we really, it is a community, and it's so nice to be able to reach outside of your community, even when it's going back to basics, just a problem solving thing. That whole what do we do when we don't have the internet has been kind of almost kind of a laughable thing lately for us. But I think one thing that you kind of have to remember for yourself, and I know I have to tell myself this sometimes daily, is just don't overly complicate it for yourself or for them. The more to the point and concise you can be is really your best tool that you can use. And if you get behind, like give yourself grace. I told my parents that at the beginning of the year too. Like I'm giving you full grace. Like I understand that schedules at home are going to be crazy, and they're working, we're working, the kids are working, and it's going to look a little bit different. So I would just say use kind of those kind of non-technology related resources.
Well, and I think, Erica, something Brittany said earlier, and maybe someone else said, pick the tools that you really know. And then also from a parent perspective of 3 kids with, I have an 8th grader, a 5th grader, and a 3rd grader. I'm also, as mom, not as administrator, but now as mom, I'm also trying to juggle learning all these new tools. So if you as teachers streamline some of those tools, it helps the parents at home, especially those of us with multiple children and multiple grade levels trying to manage all the things and work, so when you streamline, it helps those parents at home that are also trying to make it work. So I think that that's a great point. Are there, Jen or Gretchen, did you want to chime in here?
So one of the things that I've noticed as far as resources go, and this is something I'm just so grateful that we are in the time that we're in, because I was really kind of heavily involved in some PLCs online to start with, and those have been so supportive to me. So things like K-12 Art Chat and Art of Ed, and my Twitter family definitely is sort of where I'm going as a teacher for resources. As far as apps and things like that I'm using with students, one of the things that I've relied really heavily on is Google Art Institute and Google Earth. So my students are used to, it's a robust platform that works on pretty much everything, and you don't need apps for it, which has been nice. It works on a .com setting as well. So one of the things that we do often, even in our classroom, is virtual field trips. We take a trip to Egypt when we're learning about the pyramids, or we take a trip to the Chicago Art Institute to see a painting in person and walk around the gallery. And we can compare works that are being, maybe it's my museum background, but I love to have an in-gallery talk about if we go to see the Starry Night, we look around in the gallery to see the other Impressionist works that are there, and we compare and contrast what is different about this and what's the same, and how does that inspire you. And my students love the virtual field trips. It's super engaging to them. They cannot wait to do it. It's not even hard to orchestrate. You can make little pins for yourself. My 4th graders actually just went to Monet's garden a few weeks ago, and I made pins around Monet's garden, and they just went from pin to pin, and they can take as long as they want and look around. They even did sketching and drawing in their sketchbooks by what they were seeing in the garden. So we're using those moments where we can. Another thing that's been super helpful with all of that is just using things that work, across both kinds of platforms has been a big help for me, for sure.
Definitely. Gretchen?
Yes. Mine is not geared towards art, but more on a general level. So this year, with everything happening, I focused to include SEL with lots of my lessons, and not just for the students, but for myself. A site that we were introduced a couple of years ago at our school that is actually free for all educators, parents, organizations is Sanford Harmony. And I highly encourage you guys to visit that site. There are lessons, there are activities, there are kits that you can order. Our campus did order kits for all of the classroom teachers. I'm not considered a classroom teacher, but all of those resources are available online. And I do go there very often to utilize those. And another thing, along with Sanford Harmony, they have professional development opportunities through Sanford Inspire. And so those are all available online. They are on demand, so you can get credit for them whenever. Another app I know many people know and use is the Calm app. Some of you have it on your phones. You use it for yourself and mindful activities, but bringing mindfulness into the classroom has been thank you for posting that, has been a blessing, because it's helping the kids to One, start class being calm. I use the scenes as a backdrop on my screen. If I'm not displaying anything at that time, I have that on. I have the music playing. It's very Zen-like, and it's very strange because kids in my classroom want to talk. They want to talk, but I have seen a difference this year. Not sure if it's because of the smaller class size or because of the atmosphere I'm trying to create, that it's welcoming, it's calming. Whatever has happened is going on outside of these doors. That's out there. We're in here. We're here to create together. This is a safe space. And so they did at one point have it open and free for educators, but I looked it up today and they are not accepting applications, but I don't think it's that expensive. Another thing that I use, and I want to give a shout out to Jen. Thank you very much, because I actually won it in a raffle when she was our elementary division chair. And it's a Mindful Kids card. And these cards focus on kindness, focus, and calm. And they can be done in a whole class setting. I actually combined two together along with the Calm app for my recent lesson that I did for my online students and my in-class students. And I tell you, that 2 minutes where I went through the whole mindful activity, they closed their eyes, they did some envisioning, it made a huge difference. It set the tone for the class. It helped to bring awareness for them, and of course, spreading kindness. That the responses the kids had, that from the most unexpected students, were amazing. I mean, I had little kindergarten kids that crossed their legs and were doing this in their chair. Where they picked this up, I don't know. But a lot of them were like, I feel so good. I feel peaceful. I mean, just the words that they were thinking of on their level, that I've never shared with them. This is the beginning of the year, especially kindergarten. I've never taught them before, but it was very pleasant, and it just made my heart happy. It made me smile. So those are the three main focus that I use right now. Nothing really with technology, since we're not 100% one-to-one yet, and I have no technology on hand in the classroom. So it's just whatever I show. But once we are at that level, I will be reaching out to some of these other people to get those other things.
Thank you. Laura, I'm looking at the time and thinking maybe we should jump to your final question and then some Q&A.
Excellent. And you need to scoot out of here soon. I'm just going to remind you.
Yeah, I know. I've got my eye on the clock. Thank you.
Okay. So ladies and our gentlemen, one of the things I like to ask, and I know Jen's been on my podcast, so she's already answered this question from time to time, but if you had any words of wisdom that you would want a fine arts administrator to hear that, comes from your heart, what would that be? And I'll let anybody jump in first.
This is always such a tricky question. But I had a hard time with what I was going to say until I was actually in a meeting last night. My district, Round Rock ISD, now has a fine arts leadership cohort. And we were in a cohort meeting last night, and our speaker for the night was the executive director of teaching and learning. And he said something that I thought was so powerful, and it landed with me. And I was like, this is the thing to say. So what he shared was that as leaders, you have the opportunity to carve out time for people and space so that they can learn and grow in the way that they can learn and grow. And one of the things that we can't do for ourselves is a lot of times we cannot make time for ourselves. We can't prioritize and make the space in a day. So you really do have so much power. And it was really incredible the way he talked about the fact that you can make a space for someone, you can sit them down and you can tell them professional development and you can fill them full of facts. However, if that's not what they need right now, you may have not used that time to the best of its ability, right? Because who knows better than that person? We're all talking about how we know our students, we know our communities, we know our campuses, and we also know painfully sometimes what we aren't doing well for our kids and what we need to grow in, right? So when he said that last night, I remembered this question, and I wanted to say time, like prioritizing, giving people time, carving out opportunities for them to guide their own learning and what they need in their space and in their campus. I think it was so powerful to me that he said that as a leader, he has that opportunity to give that to people. And I thought at the time, like, that's kind of weird. And then when it settled with me, I realized that he was so right. So that is what I would say.
Fantastic. Who'd like to share next?
I'll go. For any administrators, I just say have an open ear to listen to the teachers who are in the classroom with the students. They know their students, they know their climate, they know the culture of their campus. If you have any major decision making, please reach out to your teachers before giving suggestions, providing suggestions. Reach out to your teachers first, because in the end, it has to deal with them. And they can really let you know where they are on the scale of this is, the comfortability for themselves or their students. But I really feel like reaching out and listening to the teachers, because they know themselves, they know what's best for their kids. We're in this for the kids. We want what's best for them. We also want to be safe, but we want any decisions that are going to be made to be fair for all of those kiddos. And and then we know that you are supporting us 100%. And in your many meetings that you do and all the phone calls that you're on advocating for us, if you have minutes in your time, stop by, pop in, say hi, come in. And you were in the classroom at one point, you're always welcome back to take the load off of your end of the thing, but get back to your roots in the classroom and see where it comes from. And hopefully in your decision making and things, it will help understand, and also just be back to where your love is, whether it's music or where it's art, and see the kids in their element, and see the teachers that work with you alongside with you in their element doing great things, and continue that support one-on-one.
And
I'll echo go ahead, Erica.
I was just going to jump in and kind of echo that. I think, obviously, I feel very blessed and fortunate for the district that I work in. I work very closely with Laura on a multitude of things, and a lot of times managing my life as well. I get a lot of my mom advice from her. So I think one thing that makes our program so successful is having a visual art coordinator that does not lose sight of that, just like you said, that they've been in the classroom before and really views their point of view as the advocate for you. But also, I think one of the things that's really nice and helpful is just the messages, the messages of appreciation, the checking in on and making sure that your, all of your teachers are getting what they need, or that they have even the outlet, whether it be you or someone else within their team, that they can, voice when they feel like they're struggling or need some intervention. Having a coordinator that is skilled in that aspect. I mean, we get just little video clips here and there, which is so important. Just to know, that they're there, but we know seeing our kids, seeing the faces, seeing the person, and just getting that little recognition. We all feel it. It just really boost the day. So I think, in terms of a administrator position, just, kind of embracing that human side of everything that's going on, and just really, putting your face in there and just, tapping in here and there in the multiple channels that you have to get in touch with people is just so critical and crucial for everyone in every aspect of what we're doing right now.
I mean, I'll piggyback off of the idea of just listening. Sometimes we just, with all the stress of everything that's going on, sometimes we just need to let it out. And it might not sound the most positive when we first do, but we just need an ear to take it in and not necessarily need a solution right then and there, but that ear to listen and say, I hear you, I understand what you're saying. And as we go through the next few days or the next few weeks, let's try to work it out. Not like in the moment necessarily, but being able to say, just whatever comes out whenever we're frustrated and just need to say, I can't take any more on my plate right now. I can't take another thing, or what can we remove from the plate? What can we adjust and monitor and change things? We're expected to monitor and adjust our students all the time, but we also need to monitor and adjust ourselves and our expectations, both at the district and the campus level.
And piggybacking on that same thing, just listening, offering that ear to listen. I know I feel very blessed to work in my district with Jim Egger, because he's someone that's very approachable, and you can express your concerns and not feel like you might face some kind of consequence if you say something that might not be politically correct at the time, or someone doesn't want to hear right now. But I've expressed my concerns about my feelings of not feeling safe sometimes, about returning. But like you said, it's good to get those things out just so they're out there, and you're not holding all that in anymore. And another thing I'll add to that is trust. Trusting your teachers that they're doing the right things right now for their kids, because it looks different for everybody right now. And it's no cookie cutter lessons right now that are going to work for everybody. Just trusting that everybody's going to do what's right for their situation and right for their kids, and that it's going to work for them because you trust that they're doing what's right for their kids. And just, if I know, at least in my situation where we're all virtual right now, it's hard to do, but it'd be nice to have a lot more collaborative time with our colleagues, to be able to plan together and just to have that communication with people. I just miss people in general. Miss that face-to-face time with people. So that's my 2 cents there.
Brittany, I think it's you're bringing it home.
Sounds good. I don't know how profound it's going to be, but I'll try. I think my biggest thing, and this isn't so much for fine arts administrators as it is for you to pass on to your other administrator friends. Very frequently, your specialists, your music, art, PE teachers, we're the only ones in the school who get to be with every single kid every single week. And we have a really good finger on the pulse of what's happening in this school. We have a really good view of that worldwide view of the school. And I just so wish that more administrators realize that and maybe asked our opinion more than they just said, oh, well, here's what we're doing, deal with it. Because I mean, I know each one of you can, you're like, oh, wow, that one second grade teacher. Yeah, he's super negative and is bringing everybody down. I'm not talking about anyone on mine. They're fantastic. But you know what I mean? Like, we have a good pulse. Like, we know what's going on at this school, and the kids talk to us and they tell us what they want, and they tell us what they need. They tell us what makes them mad and everything. And because we provide that space, that safe space for them. And a lot of time we don't have as structured of a time where, they're silently doing math work or something. So if you are in the position to share with your administrator friends, please let them know that we love the kids and we have a really great idea of what our kids need. And we would love to be asked about that at some point.
So Brittany, as a former campus administrator and as an advocate for you and Erica and all art teachers across the country, I'm constantly saying, if you want to know about the culture of a campus, go to the art, music, and PE teachers.
Yes.
If you want to know what's going on with a kid, go to that teacher, because not only are you seeing them once a week, all the children in the building, you're seeing them for 6 years.
Yep.
And so you're seeing the growth. You might be the one that knows that the kiddo's dad died the year before, but the second grade teacher doesn't know that because they weren't connected to that situation. I'm with you. And I saw Gretchen, like, she was all in with your comment there. So I would agree completely. Dinah, I know that you've been monitoring the chat for us. Were there any questions that came from the participants that we wanted to try to answer in the next 10 minutes that we have left.
Absolutely. Thank you, Laura. The first one comes from Christina Bain, and she would love for those to share out what are some strategies and things people do for their self-care, because we heard a lot tonight about the work-life boundary.
I don't know about y'all, but I turn up some pop punk emo early 2000s music really loud on the way home and just scream my lungs out and take that time to like decompress. Sometimes, Melanie, I'm with you. I have definitely cried on my way home from school, and a good cuss word every now and then really lets it all out. So be vocal. It's great.
Love it.
I know I've been exercising a lot. I've really gotten into running, long distance running, and fingers crossed, I signed up for the virtual New York Marathon for Saturday. So let's, hopefully I'll finish it this Saturday. So that's been my form of self-care this whole time.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, Tony, I'm so excited for you. I wish I could I wish I could say I've been that healthy in my self-care. I think like a lot of us, I definitely fell off the self-care wagon at the beginning of the year, pretty hard, and like hit every rock on the way down. But I'm doing my best to get back on. I'm a person who loves yoga, so that's a big thing for me. Trying to do it on an iPad is a little different than in a studio, but trying to do that. And if you're my buddy and my friend, you know that I go for very long drives. As an only child, I like quiet, and I love a very long drive all by myself.
I've been finding a place each weekend to do for me or for our family. So we've been to the beach, which is my absolute happy place. There's nothing like some salty sea air and the waves crashing to get your head right. So I make sure that I make time to do things like that. And sometimes it's by myself, and sometimes it's with my husband and my son, and just going and doing the things that we still enjoy that are safe to do. Like, we're not going to movies, even though we love it. We're not going to restaurants, even though we love it. And that's relaxing for us. But going to the places that we can go and be safe right now and just let life happen.
I've been kind of diving into it. This is going to sound really funny coming from an artist, but actually like doing my own art, right? So getting in there and like creating for myself, using those supplies that get kind of set to the side, squishing your hands in paint or some clay, even if you're not an artist, as we all are, though, do something like that. Do something where you're making something. It's about the process, not the product. So I say this to my kids all the time too. We do put ourselves in the back burner. We're creative people. Dive into what your passion is and what you are creative with. And so I've been kind of setting myself some parameters of time to go and create. I designated a space, albeit in my garage, because we are maxed out on space in my house now. But I'm making it work. And, so some of that even includes like, taking some time to look online at some good products that I haven't had a chance to try yet. And so doing something like that and using that gift that you have, is good for your soul.
Mine's a little wackadoo. I like to dance to music videos in my off time at home. Nobody's gonna watch, or nobody's gonna see me, nobody's gonna laugh. It's just my boyfriend Reggie, and he kind of encourages that, and he's like, you're goofy, you're weird, you're being yourself. And breaking a sweat is amazing. Like, I will tell him, dance party tonight. He's like, okay, dinner's ready. I come home, and then he puts on YouTube and he's like, okay, what genre, which videos are we doing? And it's just, if there was a camera, I'm pretty sure I would laugh at myself, because the whole, exactly what they're doing, which I know this body can't do that, but I sure do try. It's a lot of fun. And I'm sore the next day, but it's okay. It's all right. But it's a lot of fun, and it takes my mind off of work. It takes my mind off of, oh, I can't go and haven't seen my parents in months and months, but let me just move. Let me just move my body. Let me just release, enjoy this music and be myself and back on the grind tomorrow. So that's what I like to do.
I want the video actually. I want to see you doing like Taylor or Beyonce. Like
it's Beyonce.
I had a feeling it was Beyonce. That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
To the fact that Gretchen is a very good dancer.
Yes, she is.
Yes.
Not really. You're funny. But thank you very much. But it's a lot of fun, and I feel silly doing it, but yet just like the day and the stress and whatever craziness is going on, it just melts away. And Christina, thank you for bringing that question up, because that's my thing.
Dinah, I think we have time for one quick question before we have to wrap.
Absolutely. We have a question about how do you get funding if you may not be in an equitable situation, and ways to get donations and materials for your classroom in just about 3 minutes left.
I can speak pretty well to that. Like I said, we are a Title I school. I am fortunate that I get a pretty substantial budget from my district, as well as my campus definitely makes art a priority for our students and their creative expression. But we have a lot of kids, 600 plus typically. And so, supplies don't go very far. And, like we said, talking about the equitable situation of who's coming in with what and stuff. And the reality is that they're not coming in with a lot at mine. So reaching out, obviously, to your coordinator, reaching out to like schools and see what they're doing as well. And then just being a little bit more proactive to get yourself out in the community. Start to get to know your art centers that are around you, whether they be visual or performing. Churches are always great and looking for places to do donations. And even, I've even mentioned it in my Instagram or Facebook that, I have kids that need supplies, and you are just, I'm constantly amazed and blessed and brought to tears with, people that, you are connected, there's 7 degrees of separation, like that want to reach in and help, whether it be with providing a sketchbook or a box of crayons or however they want to divvy it up. So just, I think one of the things that's kind of hard to get past the being afraid or maybe prideful sometimes to ask for that. So you kind of have to take it on for your students and do that. But just know that it kind of bridges the gap, that there are more people and more situations out there that they really do need the help, and people that want to give and have the ability to do it. So sometimes it's just kind of brainstorming a little bit more. And I always laugh. I'm like, I'm not afraid to go put my smile somewhere and ask for a donation. So, the worst thing they can tell you is no. But I find in a lot of situations, they're like, well, we can't, but I know who can. So, network, virtually network in your community, and even within your family, because people want to give, especially when you tell them your situation and how much, when we're passionate people. So express your passion with them, and you would be very surprised at how much you can receive.
Music teachers, hit up Chick-fil-A. They will give you buckets galore for bucket drumming of their pickle buckets, because they go through them so fast all the time. The teacher at the elementary school about a mile down the road from me got 50 pickle buckets from 3 Chick-fil-A's over the course of a week and a half. So she outfitted both music rooms with pickle buckets to do bucket drumming.
Our teachers can use buckets too.
Okay, and then, well, actually send them down to art to decorate them, and then send them back to music to play on.
I love it. A collaborative thing.
Yes.
That was a great tip. Dinah, I think we're at time. If you would like to wrap up, I just want to say thank you so much to these 6 amazing teachers for sharing their time and their talent and their expertise with us tonight. I adore all of you, and thank you for being here.
And Laura, I'd like to say thank you to the 170 other amazing teachers who joined our our wonderful meeting tonight. I'm now going to give this over for a wrap up to our illustrious president, Mr. Jim Egger. Jim, do you want to speak?
Are you on there, Jim? Then on mute. Try one more time. What Jim is saying is that he's been very grateful for everyone joining us tonight. And I'm going to translate and read lips. He would like to remind you, I see from Jim, that all of tonight's recording can be found on the YouTube chat. And so if the YouTube channel for TMAC. So if you guys want to go there and check out everything. Meanwhile, Jim, if you want to jump in, you can. But thank you guys so much for being here. We love the conversation. We're so grateful for the panelists. Laura Grundler, you're my idol, and I want to get your signature on all the stuff you've taught me about art over the years. So thank you so much. If you guys like this, please let us know, and we can plan more of these, and we can host definitely if our panelists and if Laura and everyone can come back and help us out again. We would be honored to provide the service again for you guys. So thank you guys so much. Thank you on behalf of Jim also.
So am I on now or not?
Yes. You are. There's
Jim. Man, AirPods are wonderful until they don't work. I was saying that I've got one more thing that I need to talk about in addition to the stuff Joe mentioned. I need one of the music teachers to answer one question for me. So anyone who wants to volunteer, raise your hand. Any of the music teachers there? Come on, don't be chickens. Okay.
I will volunteer.
So today's a very special day because it's Dinah Menger's birthday.
Oh my gosh.
And so I need Tony Lopez to sing to Dinah Menger. Here we go, Tony. Hit it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dinah. Happy birthday to you and many more.
Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Well, I'm done. Thanks, everyone. That was fantastic. Thank you, Jim. I'm going to kill you. Thank you, Tony.
You're very welcome.
And guys, listen to Melanie, Brittany, Tony, Gretchen, Jen, Erica. Thank you so much. This has been a great night. Over 175 people with us tonight. This is available to watch again and watch 5 or 6 times. Tell your friends. It's on the TMAC YouTube channel. Check it out. Great stuff. And like Joe said, if this is something you guys want us to do again, let us know. We are more than happy to do this again in a month, every month, whatever you need. And like Dinah mentioned at the beginning, y'all are the heroes. You guys are the ones who have the most impact on these kids. You're the ones that get that love started and plant those seeds that grow into all-state performers, grow into Broadway stars, grow into the best artists out there. So thank you for everything you guys do. And y'all have a great night. Any TMAC members, we're on in 2 weeks with our October Roundtable. And watch for more of these TMAC Present sessions coming up. Thank y'all so much. Great job tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Landon Ellis, call me. Landon Ellis, call me anytime.
Y'all have a great night.
I'm watching the YouTube and happy birthday. Everybody's singing. You got to go back and watch that, Dinah.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye, Chrissy Seligson.
Bye, Sylvia.
Great panel.
Bye, guys.
It's good.
Hey, Jeff's still with us.
Jeff Turner.
That's exciting.
And Dinah, I wanted to say happy birthday. And I was watching, I noticed that you got a very special gift this morning that you were not using in the meeting. I thought that was very good. No, I'm talking about a gift that's going to be a lot taller. It's got 2 first names on it.
It's brown.
Starts with Jack.
Oh, yeah.
It is 5 o'clock. It would have been okay.
Right.
But I think that's your office. Maybe it wouldn't have been okay.
Yeah, probably not. We
save that for your last day.
Longer.
That's That's just my weekday whiskey. I save the good stuff for the weekend. That's the good bourbon for the weekend.
There we go.
Right.
Oh, hey, let me stop there.
Oh, guys.